everyone, and welcome to Becky Tells a Horror Story, or a few actually. The first one I'm going to read is The Portraits. There was a hunter in the woods who, after a long day hunting, was in the middle of an immense forest. It was getting dark, and having lost his bearings, he decided to head in one direction until he was clear of the increasingly oppressive foliage. After what seemed like hours, he came across a cabin in a small clearing. Realizing how dark it had grown, he decided to see if he could stay there for the night. He approached and found the door ajar. Nobody was inside. The hunter flopped down on the single bed, deciding to explain himself to the owner in the morning. As he looked around, he was surprised to see the walls adorned by many portraits, all painted in incredible detail. Without exception, they appeared to be staring down at him, their features twisted into looks of hatred. Staring back, he grew increasingly uncomfortable. Making a concerted effort to ignore the many hateful faces, he turned to face the wall, and exhausted, he fell into a restless sleep. Face down, in an unfamiliar bed, he turned, blinking in unexpected sunlight. Looking up, he discovered that the cabin had no portraits, only windows. The next one is called My Sleeping Wife. I pull into the driveway from another late night. I enter the house to find all the lights are out as usual. My wife must already be in bed asleep. It's late and I'm tired, so I figure I might as well go to bed too. I don't even bother turning on the lights anymore. I can navigate my way through this house blind. Besides, I don't want to wake the wife. The bedroom door creaks as it opens, and I inch my way to my side of the bed and crawl in. I move close to my wife and wrap my arm around her. I know she's asleep, but I somehow feel her embrace me as I hold her. I slowly drift asleep, with the love of my life asleep in my arms. I slowly begin to wake up when I find my love is no longer in my arms, or in the bed for that matter. I open my eyes to see her entire side of the bed is covered in dried, crusty blood. I panic and look to the floor to see bloody footprints and drips of blood leading out of the room. I frantically get up to follow the footprints and search for my wife. As I approach the door, I decide to take one last look at the room. As I turn around, I see my once beautiful wife sliced open and mutilated, nailed to the wall behind my bed. Beside her, painted in blood across the wall, were the words, "Thanks for holding me, but maybe you should turn on the light. Thanks for holding me, but maybe next time you should turn on a light when you come in." Bride and seek. Oh! I sense a little pun there. During a wedding reception of a young couple, the guests decided on a drunken game of hide and seek. It was decided that the groom was it, and he eventually found everyone but his new bride. Eventually, the man became furious and decided it wasn't funny anymore and left her there. As weeks went by, he accepted that she'd had second thoughts and went on with her life, so he did the same. A few years later, a cleaning lady dusted off an old trunk in the attic of the building where the reception had taken place. Out of curiosity, she opened it. Inside the trunk was the rotted body of the missing bride, who had apparently become locked in the trunk she'd hid in. Whether she'd suffocated or starved was unknown, but her face was frozen in a scream. Don't play hide and seek when you're drunk, and don't get locked in any trunks. Did that rhyme? I hope it did. The Clown Statue. So-and-so's friend, a girl in her teens, is babysitting for a family in Newport Beach, California. The family is wealthy and has a very large house. You know the sort, with a ridiculous amount of rooms. Anyways, the parents are going out for a late dinner or movie. The father tells the babysitter that once the children are in bed, she should go into this specific room. He doesn't really want her wandering around the house, and watch TV there. The parents take off, and soon she gets the kids into bed and goes to the room to watch TV. She tries watching TV, but she is disturbed by a clown statue in the corner of the room. She tries to ignore it for as long as possible, but it starts freaking her out so much that she can't handle it. She resorts to calling the father and asks, "Hey, the kids are in bed, but is it okay if I switch rooms? This clown statue is really creeping me out." The father says seriously, "Get the kids, go next door and call 911. She asks, "What's going on?" He responds, "Just go next door and once you call the police, call me back." She gets the kids, goes next door and calls the police. When the police are on their way, she calls the father back and asks, "So really, what's going on?" He responds, "We don't have a clown statue." He then further explains that the children have been complaining about a clown watching them as they sleep. He and his wife had just blown it off, assuming that they were having nightmares. The police arrive and apprehend the clown, who turns out to be a midget. The clown's name was Harry Jameson, later arrested for the murder of 7 kids, and had been found just that night after the police call.